Hello and welcome to Building People, a podcast highlighting the individuals behind construction projects and the stories that we live. I'm your host, Richie McNamara. I politely ask that you make sure you're following us, C.E Floyd, on Instagram and LinkedIn, while we get started with this episode of Building People. Today I'm joined by the CEO of our company, C.E Floyd. We discuss his background and lifelong learning journey, our company's growth into becoming a PBC and B Corp, and the humanity behind who C.E Floyd is. Hi Chris, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. You seem like a pretty busy guy. You're the CEO of our company, so I appreciate you taking the time to join me today. But you've kind of like dipped your toes into every department and team here, right? Is that the case?
Yeah. So I guess I've had experiences working with most of the people here in different ways, and started off my construction career as a laborer working on project sites when I was in high school and in college, and then worked as a kind of a co-op or assistant project engineer when I was in the summers and during college, and became a superintendent. Worked for a different company, a different contractor for a couple of years, and then I transitioned back to C.E Floyd after business school. So I took business school as kind of like a transitional point between the other company and C.E Floyd. And after I graduated from business school, I became a project engineer and worked my way up to project manager, and then I became part of the business development team. Eventually took over responsibility for business development, finance, and marketing, and eventually took over as CEO.
So you've really had your hand in all the pots, kind of.
Everything except estimating. I was never served as an estimator.
Cool.
But I've held some element of every other role in the business, I think. And
that kind of reminds me of the story you told me about you picking your major in college, where you were in engineering at first, right?
Yeah, so I started off in the civil engineering program, and I met with my advisor, and I just wasn't all that excited about the lack of electives, and I was taking a French class, and that was kind of like the thing that drove me over the edge, because the French class was really basic, and my engineering major or advisor told me that that was the highest level French class I should take, because he was worried that it would distract me from my engineering studies, and that basically was belittling the languages, and that was my focus should be on the engineering course load. And I realized that that's not the experience that I wanted to have in college, and so I had to transfer schools because I was at university system. So transferred from the engineering school to the arts and sciences school, and ended up graduating with a major in French and political science with a minor in business administration, and I almost had a minor in art history as well. Mm-hmm. So I ended up taking all the classes that I enjoyed and was interested in, and learned a lot and had a lot of great experiences. Yeah, and that was at Vanderbilt in Tennessee? Yes.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like it's important, something I'm realizing while I'm young, to just like try everything and see what I like. So that's awesome. But
that was my goal in college. Now's the time to do it. And here I am being pigeonholed into a limited, narrow set of courses. And that's I love to learn, lifelong learner. And so part of my goal within college was to really expand my horizons and try new things. And,
yeah.
And I wasn't even sure, actually, that I wanted to come back and work in construction, so I wanted to explore other avenues and other careers. But after I did that, I realized that I really love building. Mm-hmm. And I didn't need to go to school for construction to be in construction to learn the business. And I still feel some of our best hires have been people who've come from outside of construction programs.
Yeah. I was talking about that with Katie, how something about our industry is that you don't need a college degree to enter it, which is really, I feel like we need to see that more, honestly.
Absolutely. I think of construction as a really great gateway industry for people to come into, to develop a career with really good economic potential. where hard work is and learning on the job is part of what it takes to be successful.
Yeah.
And regardless of what your education has been in the past, if you work hard and you're good and you're willing to learn on the job and learn from your peers, then you could build a really successful and rewarding career.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think there's a lot of opportunity to bring people who haven't had economic success the opportunity to create a pathway towards economic stability and success for themselves in their generation and also for their kids in the next generation.
Mm-hmm. I love this. I love what I'm hearing. But what I really wanted to talk to you today was about our newly cemented B Corp status. C.E Floyd has recently achieved B Corp certification, meaning that we have committed to transparency and continuous improvement in the areas of governance, workers, customers, as well as community and environmental impact. The certification comes after a comprehensive application process, spearheaded by our brand and impact specialist, Lindsay Haig.
Our B Corp certification is really a true reflection of who we are and our strengths. The biggest thing that we had to do from a work perspective was take our informal policies and formalize them.
Yeah.
I'm generally a very informal person, and so that for me was a little bit painful because I don't like having a lot of policies and procedures, but the requirement that things are cemented as a policy. Part of B Corp is to make sure that everything is authentic, and there's a significant audit process that requires digging into how you actually protect, how you operate. Is it written down? There's a big piece of focus on governance, and there's really good reason behind that as well. But that was where a lot of the work was. The reality is, it's really recognition of how we treat our people, how we care about people, and that's the area where we that, along with the transparency and governance sections, were areas that we really thrived.
You might have noticed that C.E Floyd has added the letters PBC to our company name. Hear Chris explain what this means and why it's important.
PBC is a public benefit corporation. It's a type of business entity that's created in order to, where you're not just creating value for shareholders, but you're creating value for stakeholders, which includes the communities within which we work and the people who work here. And so the public benefit that we create is based around our purpose, which is building visions in people. And that includes continuing to provide for the future of the business and the sustainability of the business through profitability, but that's not the only focus. So we are required as a board and as fiduciary members of the governance of the business to consider stakeholders and the public good in addition to the value for shareholders. So that's a really important distinction. And what is the purpose of business? And in our case, the purpose of our business is beyond value for shareholders.
Yeah, it's great to hear. And you've mentioned to me before that growing C.E Floyd in this direction, or kind of just getting these certifications to show that this is who we are, was rooted in a personal journey of yours. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So as I took over the business from my father in 2014, but that's the leadership of the business. I started actually buying ownership from him in 2008. And when I reflected on my personal goals and my journey, what did I want to do with my professional career and my greater life? What kind of a contribution was I going to make to the business, but also to broader society, and what is my own purpose? So I really have spent a lot of time thinking through and working with people on what I want to do with my life, right? The simple question that a lot of people ask, what do I want to do with my life? And it's really not that easy to answer that question for most people. What opportunities are you presented with? And what things do you want to try? And then what are you really capable of doing? Where are your strengths and your weaknesses? And then how can you align those things into an opportunity and a direction?
Pretty simple.
Right, really simple, right? It sounds simple, and yet it's a struggle for so many people. So I've really worked on that journey for myself, and I realized that I really have a very unique opportunity as somebody who's now a business owner leading a business that has an impact on a lot of people. And in construction, we have the process of the work that we do, and we leave behind an enduring symbol of our work, which is a building that many of these buildings will outlive our own lifetimes. And I think that's an important piece when we think about longevity of the buildings and the structures and the impact on environment, how long that building's going to last. But so my purpose, when I thought about it, I realized I didn't want to just create wealth for myself. I think the idea of building a business for personal gain was not appealing to me. And yet I was in a position where now I was putting all of my effort and all of my financial resources into owning a business. So what was I going to do with that? And how was that going to create value for me? And the value for me was much more around purpose and much less around financial reward. And so I wanted to find a way to give back and create more value for a broader audience, a larger number of people. And as I thought through the personal stories of the people that I knew through the business, and how many people at C.E Floyd have been here for a long time, 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, all typical kind of lifespans within the business or careers at C.E Floyd. And I've seen people who've started off as in the trades, developing leadership responsibilities, becoming really good, strong leaders, and building a really good financial nest egg for themselves, and then being able to buy a retirement house or move on to the next phase of their life in a way that is really heartwarming stories. And just seeing that the opportunity that people were able to grow into over the course of their career. And I thought, that's really what the purpose of our business is. The purpose of our business is the combination of creating those opportunities for people, and also the products that we leave behind and what those buildings do for the communities within which we work. Mm-hmm. And so we came up with the concept of building visions in people, and that really fits into how what we do, which is creating the buildings. Mm-hmm. And the buildings are going to be long-standing reminders within the communities of the work that we've done, but also are contributing value to the communities that we're in. Where many of our clients, the majority are nonprofits right now, around 69% are nonprofit community-based type organizations. So creating these structures helps to provide the platform for these organizations to deliver on their mission. Yeah. And so what is this vision that our clients have? It's building visions. The building of the vision for our client, for them to deliver value and deliver on their mission, and then the building of the people is the long-term career opportunities that we create here at C.E Floyd, and the opportunities for our people to become more successful, build their careers, realize their potential, and build economic security and success for themselves and their families. Yeah. And so it's a great way for us to bring together a purpose that is meaningful beyond what we're providing for the shareholders. So that had a lot of relevance to me in my journey, because that's where I really wanted to spend my effort and my focus, but I can truly commit myself to the success of the business in a way that is consistent with my own purpose for my life, rather than as a means to end to do something else.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I've heard from a lot of nonprofit and charity entities that having a physical space is often a huge barrier for these organizations to be successful. So it's kind of cool that we're doing good on both sides, the building people and the building visions. That's great to hear.
Absolutely. So as examples, we have so many examples of clients who need more space or a different space in order to more efficiently deliver their value and deliver on their mission. And so the work that we're doing to help make that happen, make that a reality, creative problem solving, creating more value for our clients is the impact is much greater than just how do I say it? the impact is much greater than just creating a space, but we also love learning about the organization, the mission, what are they trying to create, what is the purpose of this building, and then we can provide advice and feedback to extract the most value from that space in order to provide for that mission and the value that organization is creating for the community.
So there are, I think, very few, maybe just one other construction company that is B Corp certified.
There's one other in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
There are not very many. It's pretty rare. And the question is, why would we do this,
mm-hmm.
right? One of the things, I guess there are two main reasons that convinced us to do this. One, I saw the B Corp journey as a catalyst for change, an opportunity for us to do better. And we created our purpose of building visions of people, and we set it in stone by becoming a public benefit corporation. But I felt like there was more we could do. And there are areas that I'd like to see us further develop and provide, continue to improve. So one was by becoming part of the B Corp community, we could continue to stay on top of different ways that we could support our people in their growth. And I really find that meaningful to continue to get new ideas and ways that we can do better. And it's about continuous improvement, which is also consistent with the way that we run the business. And then the other piece of the puzzle is around the environment. And that's an area where if you think about construction, we're creating a building that's going to be there for a long time. It's a natural resource intensive process both to construct, but then also the embedded carbon within the building materials themselves. And then on top of that, you have, which is an even bigger part, is the long-term operation of the building itself. So how could we do a better job at reducing the impact on the environment during the building process, which is a small piece of the puzzle, but then also think a little bit more about the embedded carbon in the buildings that we're creating, and then how do we advise our clients on reducing the impact in the long term of the lifespan of the building. One of those pieces of the puzzle is around quality. So if you think about the ability to reposition a building to perform a different function in the future, now a large chunk of that building infrastructure can be repurposed, and to the extent that it can be repurposed, you're reducing the impact on the environment significantly at some point in the future, and increasing the lifespan of the building itself.
It makes me think of the food bank project, where it's a net zero build, net zero carbon, and that would definitely poses challenges in the building process. But like you said, it's going to be standing for past our lifetimes. So
I think that one of the things that's one of the ways that we can bring a lot of value to clients around the building process is bring a real excitement and interest in learning and supporting somebody who has goals around net zero, for example. Okay, well, there aren't a lot of people who've built a lot of net zero buildings at this point in time, but we'd love to help you, and we'll learn about it, and we're really great at learning. And so we'll figure it out, and we'll bring the right resources to the table, and we'll help you make it happen because it's meaningful and important to you, and so it's meaningful and important to us.
Yeah.
There's great alignment there. In the future, there will be something else. There will be some other avenue. There will be some other thing that we're focusing on and that our clients are focusing on, and it doesn't have to be one thing. We have a lot of flexibility and an interest in learning and serving. And so what does that need? For example, at the food bank, there's this, they wanted to make a statement about the impact on the environment at the same time as expanding the ability to serve their community. And there's a really strong need for additional capacity for food. So how could we marry those two things together? Mm-hmm. And we've been working with that team to help make the project a reality for a couple of years. It's really exciting to see it happen today.
Yeah, it is exciting. And like you said, B Corp is about continuous improvement, so it's always going to be something new that we're learning. So having that open mindset is really awesome.
I love the concept of an open mindset. If you think about the term that's used a lot in education today is a growth mindset, right? So it's, if you look at how can we continue to improve ourselves, and then also think about the idea of a fixed pie versus growing the pie. So instead of one example that I'll use is is thinking about continuous improvement and always learning. If we say that we're going to become experts in one area, but we're not going to continue to change, we're just going to get deeper and deeper and deeper in that narrow slice, it's going to reduce our ability to serve our clients and as their needs change. And so I'm much more focused on creating that growth mindset idea or concept, which reflective of my own educational journey is that I wanted to continue to grow myself and expand my horizons and try new things, and didn't want to be limited or restricted. And so I think being able to grow and change with our clients and the times is really an important piece of the puzzle. And then as far as the idea of a fixed pie versus a growing the pie concept, one of the things that I've been talking a lot about internally is around diversity. And if we think about opportunity as a fixed thing versus a growth, an area of future potential growth, then it's I have this versus you have that mentality, instead of how can we create a win for everybody. And so one of the things that I've been pushing for a long time is increasing the diversity of our workforce. And then how can we from there create more diversity within our suppliers.
I do want to have you back on this podcast another time to talk about diversity, because I think it is such an important topic to be open and honest about, and it's also a very big topic that I'd love to chat with you more about another time. Thank you very much for joining me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
To learn more about our company, go to cefloyd.com and follow us on social media. Thank you for listening. I'm Richie McNamara, and this has been Building People.